The second solar cycle began with unusual activity on the station. Alarms sounded through the residential quarters. Waking Lyraya from her rest period, her skin immediately shifted to alert orange patterns as she moved quickly to the command center status. Report, she called to the duty officer as she entered. Sensors detected an unknown vessel approaching from within the nebula. The officer reported, his skin pale with concern. They are not responding to communication attempts. Lyria studied the scanner. Display: the ship appeared small, possibly a scout vessel. Its energy signature unfamiliar to the station's database. Alert the human captain. She instructed humans have more experience with defensive scenarios. Minutes later, Captain Lisa arrived at the command center. Her chief engineer, Amy, following close behind both humans, looked alert, despite being woken from sleep. Another trait Lyra noted for her research: humans transitioned from rest to full alertness remarkably quickly. What's the situation? Lisa asked, moving directly to the main display unidentified vessel approaching from within the nebula. Lyra explained they are maintaining communication silence. The human studied the readings, then exchanged glances with her engineer pirates, Amy. Suggested likely using the nebula radiation to mask their approach until now. Lyra felt her skin pale. The Zinthari research outpost maintained minimal defensive capabilities, relying instead on diplomatic status and relative obscurity for protection. Have limited weapons? She admitted most research stations operate under protected status. Lisa nodded quickly. Making decisions could be, pirates could be something else. Either way, we should prepare defensive options. Permission to bring our ships, systems online. The station administrator Valax had joined them, his skin showing patterns of deep concern. He hesitated briefly, then nodded. Permission granted, Captain. The humans moved with practiced efficiency, Lisa establishing a communication link with her vessel while Amy accessed the station's defensive systems such as they were. Your shields are outdated, Amy commented as she reviewed the specifications, but we can reinforce them by rerouting power from non-essential systems. Lyra watched as the engineer made rapid adjustments to the station's power distribution. The approach seemed reckless by Zinthari standards, but the shield strength indicators immediately showed improvement. Impressive, the station engineer commented, skin flickering. With blue admiration, we had not considered such configuration. Humans excel at improvisation, Lyra noted, recording the interaction for her research. The scanner alert chimed again. The unknown vessel had increased speed, now clearly on an intercept course with the station. Definitely pirates, Lisa stated grimly. They're making a direct approach typical of raid patterns I've seen before, Valax. The administrator looked troubled. Pirates rarely venture this far into regulated space. What would bring them here? The humans, the station security officer suggested their vessel perhaps, or they detected the damage to the Starlight. Amy added. Pirates often target disabled ships. Lyra felt her secondary heart rate increase. The situation was escalating. Beyond typical research parameters, this would provide valuable data on human crisis response, but also presented genuine danger. Station cannot withstand a determined attack. Valax stated, his skin now pale gray with worry. The human captain straightened, her posture a subtle change that Lyra nonetheless noted. It suggested determination and leadership qualities. We won't need to fight them, Lisa declared confidently. Starlight may be damaged, but our communication array is intact and we've modified it for various purposes. What do you propose? Lyra asked, curious about the human strategy. Electronic countermeasures, the captain explained with a slight expression. Humans called a smile. We can project false sensor readings, making it appear that a military patrol has just arrived. Deception, Amy added, it's one of our specialties. The humans returned to their ship, moving quickly through the docking bay. Lyria followed, observing as they activated various systems the Starlight might have damaged. Propulsion. But its other systems hummed with energy. This console here, Amy directed Lyra, showing her a display of complex code. We're going to need your station's communication array to amplify our signal. Can you authorize that connection? Lyra quickly established the link, watching as the human engineer's fingers moved across the control surfaces with practiced ease. The code sequences appearing faster than she could fully analyze them. The pirates will be in range in approximately 12 minutes. The station security officer reported through the communication system. Plenty of time, Amy muttered, continuing her work. Lyra observed the humans working under pressure. They showed no signs of panic, only focused determination. Their heart rates likely elevated, but their movements remained precise and controlled. Another adaptation she noted for her research: humans performed optimally under stress conditions that caused other species to falter. Signal configuration complete, Amy announced 5 minutes later, now broadcasting. The bridge display showed the false signals now emanating from the station complex sensor ghosts, creating the impression of 3 military vessels appearing from the other side of the nebula, complete with identification, codes and communication chatter. Remarkably convincing, Lyra noted her skin shifting to impressed blue patterns. The scanner showed immediate results. The pirate vessel altered course, veering away from the station and accelerating back into the nebula. Depths, they bought it, Lisa said with a satisfied expression. The humans called relief. False signals are common tactics in the fringe systems, Amy explained, powering down the modified array. Most pirates rely on automated scanner systems rather than visual confirmation. They won't risk engaging military vessels. The station security team reported the all-clear signal as the pirate ship disappeared from scanner range. Valax. The administrator approached the humans, his skin now showing grateful gold patterns. You have saved our station from potential disaster, he said formally. The Zinthari Research Council will be informed of your assistance. Humans value direct action. Lisa replied. It's in our nature to help when we can. Lyra found this statement particularly interesting for her research. Humans often referenced nature or natural tendencies when explaining their behavior, suggesting an intrinsic rather than learned basis for their cooperative traits with non-humans. The crisis averted. Normal operations resumed across the station. But with heightened security awareness, Lyra noted that the human crew now took regular shifts monitoring the scanner systems, a voluntary arrangement they had suggested to the administrator on the third solar cycle. Lyra joined Amy in the engineering bay, where repairs to the Starlight continued. The human worked alongside Zinthari technicians with easy camaraderie, teaching them human engineering approaches while learning Zinthari techniques. Your methods are quite unorthodox, Lyra commented, watching Amy bypass several safety protocols to test a power coupling. Sometimes you need to break the rules to fix the problem, Amy replied, reconnecting the coupling. The readouts showed performance exceeding standard parameters. Sometimes the rulebook doesn't account for every situation. This adaptive thinking fascinated Lyra. Zinthari engineers followed strict protocols established through centuries of testing and refinement. The idea of improvisation seemed almost dangerous, yet the humans achieved results that often surpassed traditional methods. Do all humans approach problems this way? She asked. Not all. Amy laughed, wiping mechanical fluid from her hands with a cloth. But many of us, especially those who work in space, necessity drives innovation. When you're light years from the nearest repair facility, you learn to get creative. Later that day, Captain Lisa invited Lyra to join her for a meal in the station's communal dining area. Another opportunity for cultural observation. The human consumed protein supplements compatible with their biology, while asking questions about Zinthari culture and history. You mentioned you've been studying humans? Lisa said between bites of synthesized protein. What have you learned about us so far? Lyra considered her response carefully. Humans sometimes reacted defensively to being researched. Though this captain seemed genuinely curious, your species adapts more quickly than any other we've encountered, she explained. Your biological evolution was unremarkable, but your cultural and technological evolution has been extraordinary, particularly your ability to incorporate ideas from other species. The captain nodded, encouraging her to continue. Most notably, Lyra added, humans demonstrate unusual cooperation with non-humans. Many species remain isolated culturally, even when engaging in trade or political alliances. Humans actively seek connection and integration. Is that unusual? Lisa asked. Quite unusual, Lyra confirmed. Most spacefaring species took thousands of years to develop interstellar travel and maintain strong cultural boundaries. Humans achieved the same in mere centuries and seem eager to blend aspects of other cultures with Your own, it suggests either remarkable adaptability or perhaps an undefined quality we have yet to identify. The captain seemed to consider this. Her expression. Thoughtful humans had such expressive faces, Lyra found them fascinating to observe. Emotions displayed so openly when Zinthari communicated primarily through skin color and pattern. Perhaps we simply recognize that survival is easier together than alone. Lisa finally said the universe is vast and often hostile. No species can thrive in isolation. The sky beyond the viewport glowed purple as Lyra watched the human vessel approach her station. She had been assigned to monitor the humans for 3 solar cycles, and this particular ship interested her greatly. Its captain was known for unusual tactics and bold decisions. Lyra belonged to the Zinthari race, tall, slender beings with iridescent skin that changed color with their emotions right now. Her skin shimmered with flecks of gold, indicating her excitement. Humans fascinated her especially, their unpredictability and resilience in a galaxy that had initially dismissed them as primitive. The outpost floated silently in the outer reaches of the Mesker Nebula, a swirling mass of gases and cosmic dust that created the purple hue visible. Through every window, the location was strategic, offering clear observation of several major trade routes, while remaining somewhat hidden from casual travelers. Lyra stood nearly 7 feet tall with 4 slender arms and large almond-shaped eyes that shifted between deep blue and violet. Her skin currently rippled with gold excitement patterns as she monitored the approach. Vectors of the human ship called the Starlight. The station communication system chimed softly. Lyra touched the floating, holographic display with one of her upper arms, accepting the transmission. This is Captain Lisa Martinez of Earth Vessel Starlight, requesting permission to dock. We have sustained damage to our propulsion system during a radiation storm and require repairs and supplies. The human voice sounded tired but controlled. Lyra noted the calm demeanor. Despite their obvious distress, humans often maintained composure in situations where other species might panic. Another fascinating trait, permission. Granted. Captain Lyra responded through her translator device. Please proceed to Docking Bay 3. Our engineering team will meet you there to assess the damages. She watched through the station's monitoring system as the human ship maneuvered carefully toward the designated docking port. Despite the damage to their engines, they handled the vessel with impressive precision. The Starlight was not a large ship by galactic standards, but its design reflected the human tendency toward efficiency over aesthetics, function over form, as the Zinthari research documents described it. Lyra left her observation post and moved through the station's curved corridors, her long legs covering distance quickly. She wanted to personally greet the humans. Her research position granted her this privilege, and she intended to use it. Her superiors valued her detailed reports on human behavior and interaction. The docking bay hummed with activity as Zinthari technicians prepared for the arrival of the damaged vessel. Emergency repair drones hovered nearby, ready to assist with initial assessments. Safety protocols initiated automatically as the airlocks began their synchronization sequence. Lyra felt her secondary heart beating faster than normal. HFY had studied humans extensively through data feeds and recorded interactions, but direct contact remained relatively rare in this sector of space. The opportunity excited her professionally and personally. The airlock doors slid open with a soft hiss, revealing 2 human females. One wore the dark blue uniform designated for ship captains, while the other dressed in utilitarian coveralls marked with tools and various stains. Likely the chief engineer. Lyra thought, welcome to Outpost 7. She, said her translator, converting her melodic tones into standard human English. I am research coordinator Lyra. The captain stepped forward, extending her hand, a common human greeting gesture that Lyra had studied. She carefully extended one of her lower arms, matching the gesture. Captain Lisa Martinez, she introduced herself. This is my chief engineer, Amy Norton. We appreciate your quick response to our distress call. Lyra noted the captain's firm grip, another human trait suggesting confidence and directness. The engineer nodded but remained slightly behind her captain, observing the Zinthari technicians already scanning their vessel with diagnostic equipment. The damage to your ship appears significant, Lyra observed. How did you manage to navigate through the nebula's outer boundary with compromised propulsion? Amy, the engineer, spoke up for the first time. We rerouted power from non-essential systems and manually adjusted the thrust vectors. It wasn't pretty, but it got us here impressive. Lyra responded, her skin flickering with blue patterns of admiration. Most vessels would have drifted until rescue arrived. We don't much like waiting around. The captain said with a small expression. Humans called a smile. We prefer solving our own problems when possible. This aligned perfectly with Lyra's research. Humans demonstrated remarkable resourcefulness. When faced with technical challenges, their solutions often seemed unconventional to Zinthari engineers, but frequently proved effective. The station administrator wishes to speak with you, Captain Lyra. Explained, if you would follow me, your engineer can remain with our technical team to begin assessment and repairs. Lisa nodded and gestured for Amy to stay as they walked through the station. Lyra noticed the captain observing everything with careful attention. Humans were naturally curious, another trait that had served them well in their rapid expansion across the galaxy. The administration chamber featured a large circular table with holographic displays floating above its surface. The station administrator Valak stood as they entered his skin, a formal shade of deep purple denoting authority and respect. Captain Martinez. Welcome to Outpost 7, Valak said, his translator, producing a deeper tone than Lyra's. We regret the circumstances that bring you to us, but are pleased to offer assistance. Thank you, Administrator, the captain replied. We won't forget your help. Lyra watched the interaction, noting the formal but friendly exchange. Humans valued directness in communication, while many species, including the Zinthari, preferred more elaborate protocols and pleasantries. They discussed the repairs needed and supplies required. The administrator authorized full access to the station's resources, an unusual gesture that surprised Lyra. Human vessels were still somewhat rare in this sector, making them valuable for research purposes. When the meeting concluded, Lyra escorted the captain back toward the docking bay. Your administrator seems generous, Lisa commented. We value the opportunity to interact with human technology and methodology. Lyra explained. Honestly, my research focuses on human adaptation and problem solving. Your presence here is beneficial to our understanding. The captain smiled again. I see we're still something of a curiosity. Then not merely curiosity. Lyra corrected, her skin shifting to a respectful amber tone. Humans have accomplished much in a relatively short time among the stars. Your species adapts faster than any other we've encountered. It's worthy of study. They reached the docking bay where Amy, the engineer, was already deep in discussion with Zinthari technicians, her hands moving animatedly as she explained something about the propulsion system. The Zinthari listened with obvious interest, their skin patterns showing various shades of curiosity and surprise. Repairs will take approximately 5 solar cycles. Lyra informed the captain. Your crew is welcome to use our recreational facilities while you wait. Lisa watched her engineer at work for a moment before responding. We'd appreciate that. And perhaps this can be an opportunity for cultural exchange as well. Not just technical assistance. Lyra felt her skin ripple. With gold excitement again, she would have extended time to observe and interact with humans. This was an unexpected research opportunity. Indeed, she agreed. I would be pleased to serve as your liaison during your stay over the next cycle equivalent to about 30 Earth hours. The human crew began integrating into the station's routine. Lyra observed their interactions with fascination. Most Zinthari maintained formal distance from other species, but humans easily engaged with everyone they encountered, asking questions, sharing stories, and even attempting to learn basic Zinthari phrases. Without translator assistance, Lyra spent considerable time with Amy in the engineering bay, watching as the human worked alongside Zinthari technicians. Her approach to the damaged propulsion system differed significantly from standard Zinthari methodology, where Zinthari engineers followed precise, sequential protocols. Humans seemed to work through intuitive leaps, skipping steps that seemed unnecessary, and combining others in ways the Zinthari had never considered. You know, you're rebuilding that entire section wrong, one Zinthari engineer commented through his translator as Amy reconfigured a power distribution node. Not wrong, Amy replied without looking up, just different this way. Well, increase efficiency by about 20%. The Zinthari engineers exchanged glances, their skin patterns showing skepticism. but they continued to assist, fascinated by the unconventional approach. Lyra recorded everything, making detailed notes for her research. The human's ability to innovate under pressure represented exactly the adaptive traits that had allowed their species to advance so quickly despite their relative newness to interstellar travel. That evening, Lyra invited Captain Lisa to observe the nebula from the station's primary observation deck, a curved, transparent wall that offered an unobstructed view of the swirling purple and blue cosmic cloud zits. "Beautiful," Lisa said, gazing at the spectacle beyond the station. "We don't have anything quite like this in Earth-controlled space yet. The Mesker Nebula contains unusual radiation patterns," Lyra explained, "making it dangerous to traverse but aesthetically remarkable. It's one reason we positioned our research outpost here." The captain turned to look at Lyra directly. "I've been meaning to ask, why is this station so lightly defended for a research outpost in..." The fourth solar cycle began with Lyra reviewing sensor logs from overnight. Monitoring the station systems had detected unusual energy patterns emanating from the human vessel during the rest period. Small power surges that didn't align with normal repair operations. She debated reporting these findings immediately to Administrator Vallex, but decided to gather more information. First, her research on humans suggested they responded better to direct questions than to accusations or suspicion. Lyra found Captain Lisa in the station's botanical garden, a large chamber where various plant species from across the galaxy grew in carefully controlled environments. The human stood before a display of Earth flora specimens donated years earlier by another human vessel. "These remind me of home," Lisa said without turning, sensing Lyra's approach. "We have similar flowers on Earth, though not quite the same color. The plants featured vibrant blue petals with golden centers, quite beautiful even by Synthari aesthetic standards." Lyra noted the human's apparent emotional connection to the familiar plants, another data point for her research. Emotional attachments to biological specimens from homeworlds appeared common across most sentient species. "Captain, I noticed some unusual energy readings from your vessel during night cycle," Lyra stated, deciding on direct approach. Lisa turned to face her, expression shifting subtly. "We were running some diagnostic tests on our communication array. The repairs require periodic system checks." Plausible, Lyra thought, but not entirely convincing. The energy signature had appeared focused toward the nebula, not internally within the ship, specifically in the direction of the Delta 79 anomaly, Lyra added. Watching carefully for reaction, the human maintained impressive composure, but Lyra detected slight physiological changes, increased pulse rate visible at the neck. Minimal pupil dilation signs, her research identified as potential indicators of stress or deception in humans. "You've been thorough in your observations," Captain Lisa finally said with a small smile. "I appreciate directness, Lyra. Yes, we were scanning the anomaly. Our mission before the damage involved studying unusual radiation patterns in this sector." "Why not mention this earlier?" Lyra asked. "Complicated," Lisa sighed, running a hand through her hair. A gesture Lyra had observed indicated frustration or consideration in humans. The radiation patterns were only recently discovered by Earth scientists. Some in our government believed they could have tactical applications. We were instructed to investigate quietly. Tactical applications. Lyra repeated, her skin shifting involuntarily to concerned. Gray humans had demonstrated remarkable ability to adapt technology for both peaceful and military purposes throughout their brief history, among the stars, not weapons. The captain clarified quickly, seeing Lyra's reaction more like protective shielding. "The radiation has unusual properties that might help defend ships against certain types of energy." "Weapons interesting," Lyra responded carefully. The Zinthari research team had identified similar potential in the anomaly, though their focus remained scientific rather than tactical. Administrator Vallex should be informed of your true mission, she suggested. Lisa nodded, agreed. "I'd like to speak with him directly. Perhaps our research teams could benefit from collaboration rather than parallel effort." Lyra arranged a meeting with Vallex for later that day and returned to her research station. Her assessment of the humans remained complex. They had concealed their true purpose, yet had also protected the station from pirates, and now offered collaboration. Their behavior contained contradictions that fascinated her. In the engineering bay, Amy continued working with Xinthari technicians the repairs to the Starlight propulsion system. Nearly complete, Lyra observed how the Xinthari engineers now adopted some of the humans' unconventional approaches, evidence of cultural exchange her research sought to document. Humans learn quickly, a Xinthari engineer commented to Lyra. But we learn from them as well. Their methods ignore tradition, yet achieve remarkable results. This adaptive quality is why they advanced so rapidly. Lyra noted her skin showing scholarly blue patterns. Their history shows repeated instances of incorporating foreign ideas and improving upon them. Emmy approached, wiping mechanical fluid from her hands. The propulsion system is at 90% capacity. She reported we should be able to depart tomorrow if needed. So soon, Lyra felt surprised. The estimated repair time had been 5 solar cycles. We work well under pressure. The engineer smiled. Humans seem to enjoy saying that about themselves. Captain Lisa arrived at the administrative chamber precisely on time for her meeting with Valix. Lyra present. As both researcher and witness, the conversation began formally, but quickly shifted to the humans' true mission. Delta 79 anomaly represents a unique phenomenon, Valix acknowledged after listening to the captain, his skin showing cautious green patterns. Our research suggests the radiation might indeed have applications for defensive technology. Exactly, Lisa confirmed. We believe it could revolutionize shield harmonics, making them far more effective against plasma-based weapons, but our understanding is limited without direct samples from the anomalies. Korevalax considered this information his inner eyelids blinking slowly, a sign of deep thought. Among the Xintharisich samples would be difficult to obtain. He finally said the radiation levels within the anomaly exceed safe parameters for collection vessels. We have specialized equipment aboard Starlight designed specifically for this purpose. Lisa explained, with proper shielding. We believe collection is possible. Interesting, Valix replied. But why conceal this mission initially? The captain looked slightly uncomfortable. Earth government protocols, she admitted. Certain technological advantages are classified until fully understood. Standard procedure. Lyra observed this explanation aligned with her research on human governmental structures. They maintained more secretive approaches to new technologies than Xinthari society, which valued open scientific exchange. Perhaps collaboration would benefit both our species. Valix suggested after consideration, Xinthari sensors could help locate the optimal collection points while your specialized equipment gathers samples. The captain smiled clearly. Pleased with this proposal, we would welcome joint research. The potential benefits could protect all allied species. Formal arrangements were made. The meeting concluded with agreement that the Starlight would remain at the station for 3 additional solar cycles. While joint research teams prepared for a mission to the anomaly, Lyra found herself assigned as primary liaison, a role that pleased her research interests later. That day she joined Amy in final calibration of the ship's propulsion system. The human worked with focused intensity, yet still engaged in conversation. Your captain seems pleased with the new arrangement. Lyra commented, cooperation beats secrecy. Amy replied, adjusting a power coupling. I'm glad we can work together openly now. Defensive technology benefits everyone. Lyra noted the engineer's apparent sincerity. Humans often displayed genuine commitment to cooperative relationships once established. Even after initial secrecy, the technology could be adapted for weapons as well. Lyra observed, testing the human's response. Amy paused in her work, looking directly at Lyra. Earth has strict protocols about weapons technology. We learned from our mistakes. We don't share offensive capabilities, but defensive technology helps maintain peace. An interesting distinction. Lyra thought her research had shown humans maintained complex ethical frameworks around technology sharing, particularly with non-human species. Their history contained both cooperation and conflict in nearly equal measure. That evening, Captain Lisa invited Lyra to join her aboard the Starlight, a rare opportunity to observe humans in their own environment. The ship, though small, by Xinthari standards, appeared comfortable and efficiently designed, every space serving multiple functions. This is our science lab, Lisa explained, showing Lyra a compact chamber filled with specialized equipment, some designed specifically for radiation analysis. Impressive, Lyra noted, examining the equipment. Humans created remarkably sophisticated technology. despite their relatively brief time as a spacefaring species. The captain activated a holographic display showing the nebula, and the anomaly at its center enhanced scanner data revealed swirling patterns of radiation. Unlike any naturally occurring phenomenon Lyra had previously studied, our scientists believed the anomaly might not be natural. Lisa said, carefully watching Lyra's reaction. Lyra felt her skin shift to surprise patterns. The Xanthari research had suggested similar conclusions, but had not yet gathered sufficient evidence. "You believe it was created?" she stated, rather than asked. "Possibly," the captain confirmed. "We detected patterns that suggest deliberate formation. The radiation appears to maintain a specific configuration, despite the chaos of the surrounding nebula. Who would create such a thing? And why?" Lyra wondered, her forearms gesturing in the Xanthari expression of contemplation. "That's what we hope to discover." Lisa replied, "There are legends of ancient species who left technology throughout the galaxy before disappearing. Perhaps this is one such artifact." The conversation continued as they discussed theories about the anomaly. Lyra found the human captain well-informed and thoughtful, her scientific understanding impressive for a species so new to galactic exploration. The cultural exchange represented exactly the type of interaction Lyra's research sought to document. The fifth solar cycle brought increased activity to the station, as joint human and Xanthari teams prepared for the mission to the anomaly. Equipment was calibrated, specialized containment vessels were constructed, and detailed sensor profiles were programmed to capture every aspect of the phenomenon. Lyra coordinated between the species, finding that her research on human communication styles proved invaluable. Xanthari preferred precise, detailed instructions, while humans often used intuitive, shorthand and contextual references that required translation beyond mere language. Captain Lisa and Administrator Valax formalized the research agreement in the morning cycle. Their discussion focused primarily on data sharing protocols and safety parameters. The radiation levels at the anomaly core exceed standard safety thresholds. Valax noted, his skin showing concerned gray patterns. "We have never attempted direct sample collection. We have developed specialized shielding based on preliminary scans." Lisa explained, "Our containment vessels can withstand the radiation long enough to obtain samples." The human's confidence impressed Lyra, though she noted Xanthari engineers remained skeptical, watching the preparation of the collection equipment. With cautious skin patterns, Emmy worked alongside the station's chief scientist, calibrating the specialized sensors that would guide the collection process. Her approach demonstrating the adaptive problem-solving that characterized human engineering. "This calibration sequence is unorthodox," the Xanthari scientist observed as Amy adjusted the sensor parameters. "But effective," the human replied with a smile. "Sometimes you need to think differently about radiation when standard approaches fail," Lyra documented these interactions, noting how initial skepticism from the Xanthari team gradually shifted toward cautious acceptance as the humans demonstrated their expertise. This cultural exchange represented valuable data for her research on interspecies cooperation. During mid-cycle break, Lyra joined Captain Lisa in the observation lounge, both looking out at the swirling colors of the nebula, visible through the viewport beautiful but deadly. The captain commented, "The radiation would kill unshielded organisms in minutes, yet you seem confident your technology can withstand it." Lyra observed, "Humans specialize in pushing boundaries," Lisa replied. "Our history is full of moments where we ventured into supposedly impossible situations and found ways to survive." This aligned with Lyra's research. Humans demonstrated remarkable tolerance for risk compared to most spacefaring species, particularly the Xanthari, who preferred thorough analysis. "Before action, is the risk justified?" Lyra asked, curious about the human's perspective. "If the anomaly is artificial, as we suspect," Lisa explained, "it represents technology far beyond our current understanding. The potential knowledge gained outweighs the risk, particularly if the radiation properties can be harnessed for defense." The captain paused, looking thoughtful before continuing. "There have been increasing reports of aggressive encounters in outlying systems." She added, "Some unknown species testing boundaries or perhaps scouting for expansion opportunities. Better defensive capabilities could prevent conflict." This information surprised Lyra. Such reports had not reached Xanthari research networks. though their relative isolation from major trade routes might explain the information. Gap U. Believe conflict is coming, she stated rather than asked. I hope not. Lisa sighed, but experience suggests preparation is wise. The galaxy is vast and not all species share our interest in peaceful coexistence. Lyra considered this perspective. Her research indicated humans maintained more defensive postures than many species, perhaps a reflection of their own planetary history, marked by both cooperation and conflict. The anomaly might help us protect not just humans, but all allied species. Lisa continued, including the Zinthari defense benefits everyone. The explanation seemed sincere. Though Lyra noted humans often justified military preparations through defensive rationales, a consistent pattern in their historical data by late-cycle preparations were complete the mission plan finalized between both teams. The Starlight would approach the anomaly using its newly repaired propulsion system, while maintaining constant communication with the station. Specialized collection drones would be deployed to gather samples while the ship remained at a safer distance. Captain Lisa invited key Zinthari personnel to join the mission, including Lyra and the station's chief scientist. The administrator approved the arrangement, noting the research value outweighed potential risks. Departure was scheduled for the beginning of sixth cycle, giving crew members time for rest before the mission. Lyra returned to her quarters to prepare her personal research equipment and compose final notes before joining. The humans aboard their vessel, a communication alert interrupted her preparations. Administrator Valax requesting her presence immediately. She proceeded to his private chamber, finding him alone, his skin showing troubled gray patterns. You have spent considerable time with the humans. He began the most direct contact of any Zinthari on the station. Do you believe their intentions are as stated? An interesting question. Lyra responded, her skin shifting to thoughtful purple. They have demonstrated both secretive and cooperative behaviors consistent with human cultural patterns. Their interest in defensive applications seems genuine, though they likely maintain additional motivations. They have not fully disclosed. Valax considered this assessment, his inner eyelids blinking slowly. We have received communication from the High Council. He finally said, information suggests Earth vessels have been mapping strategic locations throughout this sector. The anomaly mission may have secondary objectives. Beyond scientific research, Lyra felt surprised this information contradicted her direct observations of the humans. Though not entirely, their initial secrecy about scanning the anomaly remained concerning. What action do you recommend? She asked. Maintain your position as observer, Valax instructed. Join their mission as planned, but remain alert for any indication of objectives beyond those stated. We need accurate information about their true intentions. The administrator paused, his skin shifting to formal authority patterns. The council values your research on human behavior. He added, your presence aboard their vessel serves both scientific and security interests. Lyra understood the dual purpose of her assignment. Now she would continue her cultural research while also serving as intelligence gatherer for Zinthari security. Concerns an uncomfortable position, given the rapport she had established with the humans. I will report all relevant observations, she promised, though feeling conflicted. The administrator nodded in approval. Remember, humans have demonstrated remarkable adaptability, but also unpredictability. Proceed with appropriate caution. When Lyra returned to her preparations, she found her perspective on the mission shifted slightly, uncertainty clouding her previous enthusiasm. The complexity of interspecies relations extended beyond simple cultural exchange into realms of security strategy and potential conflict. Early in the sixth cycle, Lyra reported to Docking Bay 3 with her equipment, the Starlight crew making final preparations for departure. Captain Lisa greeted her at the airlock, looking focused but welcoming. Welcome aboard, researcher, she said, formally using Lyra's title rather than name, a subtle shift in protocol that suggested the mission had entered a more official phase. The Zinthari chief scientist joined them moments later, carrying specialized equipment developed specifically for analyzing radiation samples. The humans helped secure their equipment in the science lab as final pre-flight checks continued. Lyra observed the human crew, noting increased efficiency in their movements and communication. Minimal conversation focused entirely on mission parameters. Another adaptation to stress conditions her research had documented. The ship detached smoothly from the station thrusters, engaging at minimal power to clear the docking area before main engines activated, moving them toward the nebula boundary and the anomaly within. From the bridge, Lyra watched the swirling gases grow closer, the view screen automatically adjusting to filter harmful radiation wavelengths while maintaining visual clarity. The nebula's colors appeared even more vibrant from this perspective. Blues and purples with occasional flashes of golden energy sensors are calibrated for radiation mapping. Amy reported from her station, "We should get detailed profiles as we approach." Approaching nebula boundary. Captain Lisa acknowledged maintain current course and speed. Lyra found the bridge operations fascinating. Humans functioned with practiced precision, each person performing specific tasks while maintaining awareness of others' activities. The social hierarchy became more pronounced during operations than during casual interactions, suggesting adaptive flexibility in their organizational structure. The ship entered the nebula, gases swirling around the hull sensors, recording constant data streams that displayed across multiple screens. Radiation levels increased gradually but remained within safe parameters, the specialized shielding functioning as designed, approaching anomaly coordinates in 20 minutes. The navigation officer announced Lyra joined the chief scientist in the lab preparing analysis equipment for the samples they hoped to collect. The Zinthari worked methodically following established protocols, while Lyra found herself distracted by thoughts of the administrator's warning. The 7th solar cycle found the station transformed into an impromptu research center, focused entirely on the anomaly samples. Human and Zinthari scientists working side by side in unprecedented cooperation. The encounter with the unknown vessel, adding urgency to their analysis. Lyra divided her time between observing the scientific teams and compiling reports for both her research project and Administrator Valax. The dual purpose of her role, creating internal conflict, she had developed genuine respect for the humans, particularly Captain Lisa and Engineer Amy. Yet her responsibility to Zinthari security remained. The samples themselves defied conventional analysis, glowing with shifting patterns of energy that maintained coherent structure despite being removed from the anomaly environment. Preliminary scans indicated the radiation contained information patterns similar to complex codiots like nothing we've encountered before. The chief scientist explained to assembled research teams, his skin showing excited gold patterns. The energy maintained self-organization, suggesting artificial design. Amy nodded agreement, working to calibrate human scanning equipment for deeper analysis. The radiation signature appears to respond to specific frequencies, almost like it's designed to activate under certain conditions. Lyra found this assessment fascinating. If accurate, it suggested the anomaly might be some form of beacon or data storage, rather than a natural phenomenon or simple power source. Captain Lisa and Administrator Valax observed from nearby. Their discussion focused on security implications. The unknown vessel remained within the nebula. The administrator noted, "Our long-range sensors detect it maintaining position near the anomaly, perhaps guarding it or studying it." Lisa suggested, "Like us, they seem interested in the phenomenon rather than conflict. They could have pursued us beyond the nebula boundary but chose not to." Sensor recordings of the vessel had been analyzed extensively, though providing limited information. Its technology appeared advanced beyond both human and Zinthari capabilities, yet it had shown restraint during the encounter, another puzzling element. By mid-cycle, the research teams achieved breakthrough, the radiation samples responding to specific frequency combinations, emitting coherent energy patterns that resolved into mathematical sequences. "It's communicating," Amy announced, excitement evident in her voice. "These are prime number sequences, universal mathematical language." The discovery shifted the entire research focus from radiation properties to communication protocols. Human expertise with code breaking and pattern recognition proving particularly valuable, Lyra observed. The growing excitement among both species teams as they worked to expand the communication sequence. Humans demonstrated remarkable intuitive approaches to the problem, while Zinthari contributed methodical analysis of mathematical patterns together, achieving more than either could alone. Captain Lisa joined Lyra at the observation window, both watching the team's work. "This is how it should be," the captain commented, "cooperation instead of competition." "We complement each other," Lyra agreed, her research had consistently shown greater achievements through interspecies collaboration than through isolated effort. Perhaps the most valuable adaptation humans brought to galactic society was their willingness to integrate diverse approaches. A question remains. Lyra noted her skin showing thoughtful purple patterns. The unknown vessel clearly had interest in the anomaly. Do they understand its purpose better than we? Delisa considered this, her expression serious. They seemed protective of it, suggesting familiarity, perhaps even ownership. We should proceed carefully. By late cycle, the research teams successfully established basic communication protocols with the radiation samples, each frequency combination producing specific response patterns that gradually resolved into complex mathematical and geometric structures. It's a database. The chief scientist declared, his skin practically glowing with excitement. The anomaly contains stored information, vast quantities beyond our current computing capacity or instructions. Amy suggested studying the emerging patterns. These look like technical schematics, perhaps building instructions for something. The administrator and captain were immediately notified, both arriving quickly to review the findings. Security concerns mounting as the potential value of the discovery became apparent. If this is advanced technology, Valak stated, whoever controls it gains significant advantage. The captain nodded agreement, her expression thoughtful. The unknown vessel clearly understands this, which explains their protective behavior. Lyra considered the implications. If the anomaly contained ancient technology as theorized, it represented potential power-shifting capability in the galactic balance, precisely the type of discovery that historically led to conflict between species. As night cycle approached, the station alert system suddenly activated proximity warnings, sounding throughout all sections. Sensor contact. Administrator, the security officer, reported, the unknown vessel has left the nebula and is approaching the station. All personnel to emergency stations. Valax ordered, his skin shifting to alert orange patterns. Activate defensive systems. Lyria joined Captain Lisa and Amy on the command deck, watching as sensor displays tracked the unknown vessel's approach. Its configuration now clearly visible, unusual organic-looking design with flowing lines rather than the angular construction of most known species vessels. They're not charging weapons, Amy noted, studying the tactical display. Energy signatures steady, no power buildup in offensive systems. They could have attacked during our sample collection, but didn't Lisa observe they showed restraint? Then perhaps this isn't an attack now. Communication attempt. The communications officer announced suddenly, we're receiving a transmission complex mathematical sequences, similar to those from the radiation samples. The research teams worked quickly to apply the communication protocols they'd developed, translating the mathematical language into comprehensible patterns. The results displaying on the main screen, geometric symbols, gradually resolving into understandable concepts. They're requesting direct communication. The translator announced they wished to discuss the anomaly. Lyria felt both hearts racing with excitement. First contact with a previously unknown species represented extremely rare opportunity. Her research suddenly expanding beyond human-Zinthari relations into entirely new territory. The administrator looked uncertain, his skin showing conflicted patterns shifting between caution and scholarly interest. We should respond. Lisa suggested they could have attacked at any point. Instead, they choose communication. Valix considered this assessment, then nodded agreement. Respond with acceptance. Use the same mathematical format. The communications team transmitted the response while security remained on alert. The unknown vessel maintained position outside weapons range, showing no aggressive movement. Prepare diplomatic reception protocols. The administrator instructed they may request direct meeting. Within minutes, the unknown vessel transmitted again, this time including visual data symbols resolving into images of their species appearance. Remarkable, Lyra whispered, studying the images. The beings appeared semi-translucent, with flowing appendages and internal structures that glowed with energy patterns, similar to the anomaly radiation. They evolved within the nebula. Amy suggested perhaps the radiation environment is their natural habitat, an astute observation. Lyra agreed, her research immediately categorizing potential evolutionary pathways for energy-based life forms developing within radiation environments. The possibilities fascinated her. The communication continued, gradually establishing basic understanding through mathematical and visual exchange. the unknown species identifying themselves with symbols that translated approximately to luminous ones or light dwellers depending on interpretation. They claim creation of the anomaly, the translator announced after complex exchange. The radiation pattern serves as both historical record and warning. Warning. Lisa repeated what kind of warning further. Communication clarified the anomaly. Contained information about an ancient conflict between the light dwellers and another species from beyond the galaxy. The radiation technology had been developed as defensive measure against extragalactic invaders, who had eventually retreated but might someday return. They believe we activated dormant sensors by collecting samples. Amy explained, studying the translation. They monitored the anomaly for signs of the ancient enemy and detected our presence instead. Implications stunned the assembled team. Extragalactic threats had been theoretical in most scientific communities. The confirmation of historical contact with species from beyond the galaxy represented paradigm-shifting information. They request return of the samples. The translator continued and wished to establish diplomatic contact with both human and Xanthari authorities to discuss potential future threats. Valax and Captain Lisa exchanged glances, both recognizing the historical significance of this moment. Agree to sample return and diplomatic contact. The administrator decided his skin showing formal purple patterns. Extend invitation for representatives to board the station under safe passage protocols. The response was transmitted. The light dweller's vessel moving slightly closer, though still maintaining respectful distance. Lyra could barely contain her excitement. This encounter represented unprecedented research opportunity, contact with a species evolved in completely different environmental conditions with technology far beyond current understanding.